This morning, let's explore this golden opportunity. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you are looking for. Such a deal. This morning we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as profoundly as Ahsoka Tano on Lothal, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Now I'm going to take a moment to adjust my side monitor, which is a highfalutin way of saying my other phone. Let's see here. Thank you for your patience. Once again this morning, we could explore this golden opportunity that you could better meditate like a Jedi. If at any point during this live stream you have a question about meditation or philosophy, or even chanting, there is no need to be shy. Simply type your question in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. I'm going to take a moment to blow my nose. We turn to the 8th passage of Dzogchen Rinpoche's final meditation manual, The Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones. This particular text comes from a kitchen with many cooks. This is my adaptation and amplification of the Padmakara group's translation of the work. Some find it brilliant. Others find it sacrilegious. Of course, what we want is our own good, so we have to be honest with our own selves. If we do not accomplish the essence of the Dharma for our own sake, will we not be squandering our own life's opportunity? Now, as with many things, there are two ways that we can look at it. We can look at it through the lens of yang. We can look at it through the lens of being rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, and competitive. And then we'd say, oh, fear is a good thing, fear is my friend, I need to frighten myself into practicing the Dharma. Oh, I know, I'll tell myself and others while I'm at it, I'll tell myself that if I don't make the most of this opportunity to master the minutiae of Dharma, then I will not only go to hell, but I'll never get this opportunity ever again. Even though the Buddha never taught that. It doesn't matter. I found a tool to make myself take action through the cunning use of fear. It doesn't matter that fear breeds resentment and exhausts the endocrine system. I love fear, and I'm going to share it with others. Yeehaw. Of course, between you and me and the lamppost, or the doorpost, our brain kind of works like a toggle switch. We can be driven primarily by empathy, or we can be driven by fear. If you wish to truly be defined by the second, third, fourth, and fifth folds of the Eightfold Path by love and kindness. You have to realize that fear as a motivator is dreadful. Choose love. Choose empathy. Having said that, we can look at the same passage through the lens of yin, through the lens of being flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, and cooperative. Now, we might not feel this way all the time, every day, but we can choose this as a direction that we want to point to our life in. And when we notice that we're falling into yang, we can make the corrections we need to return to yin. Every healthy mammal is born with the neural architecture to become defined by being flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, and cooperative, as well as kind. Settle that to say this. What does it mean that we not to wish to squander our own lives' opportunity? Each of us has a Buddha nature, but what the hell does that mean? Well, think of it like a three-pointed triangle. What other kind of triangles are there? Think of it like a three-pointed triangle. Everyone with a sympathetic nervous system has the potential to master the path of mindfulness. Every mammal with a fully functional anterior cingulate gyrus has the potential to master the path of empathy. Every complex life form with a parasympathetic nervous system has the potential to master the wisdom of letting go. Now, sadly, in Mahamudra and in Dzogchen, there are some people who are so rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, competitive, and cruel that they cannot tell the difference between a literal statement and a figurative statement. And they think, I'm already enlightened. No, you already have a Buddha nature. It's already fully actualized. No, but you can already notice, you can already relax and let go. You can already have empathy. There you go. It doesn't mean you're done. It means you can totally do it. You have, given the right tools, you can master these enlightened potentials. But please, oh please, don't let a rigid fool convince you that a figure of speech is literal. Having said that, if we do not accomplish the essence of the Dharma for our own sake, will we not be squandering our own life's opportunity? But I thought we're supposed to be selfless. What's this own sake thing going on? By the way, it's not sake, it's sake. I know. I've looked into it. So think of it this way. Do we have a neurological architecture to be empathetic? Yes. But we also have a prefrontal cortex, which enables us to be honest with ourselves. We cannot lie to ourselves and expect to benefit from that. You cannot lie your way to nirvana. That's far too similar to making love in the name of virginity. Don't get me wrong, making love in the name of virginity is a fun way to spend an afternoon, but not terribly productive if you're serious about your stated goals. But think of it this way. Folks, as mammals, we have not one, but two reward systems. Reptiles got it easy. They have one reward system. Bugs are easy. They have one reward system. It's dopamine oriented, and it's basically wired to reproduce and do whatever is required to live long enough to reproduce. Such as, drink water, eat food, get shelter, that kind of things. Those kind of things. But as mammals, we were born with a second reward system. It's not dopamine oriented, it's oxytocin oriented, and it's wired for community. We experience sensations of fulfillment from relationships, professional, personal, platonic, and intimate. That was necessary for our evolution and for our survival. For mammals, the survival of mammals depends largely on the efficacy of their pack or herd or tribe. Many decades ago, the brilliant professional, I think it was psychologist, Abraham Maslow, explored the hierarchy of needs. And he observed two things: that from a hyper-pragmatic reptilian point of view, first you take care of your most basic essentials, and then maybe you work on success, and then maybe then relationship goals, and then maybe, actualizing your talents. But he found that there is a end run around that. And those who are deeply motivated to use their talents will ignore the lower echelons of his hierarchy of needs and work fervently towards the mastering of their skill set, even if it means going without, hence the term starving artist. But why am I mentioning that? Because, logic aside, our secondary reward system will not be ignored. Remember, what was her name? Glenn Close, in that movie she did with Michael Douglas, with the rabbit. What was it called? Well, if you remember what it was called, let me know in the chat window. Anyway, she did a movie with Michael Douglas, and she's having a love affair with a married man, and inevitably the married man says, "I can't date you anymore." And she responds, "Oh, I will not be ignored." And then she terrorizes his entire family. Our secondary reward system is like that. If we ignore the oxytocin-oriented, not oxycontin, but the oxytocin-oriented reward system that's wired for great, meaningful, productive relationships, professionally, personally, platonically, and intimately. If we ignore that, it's going to be stressful. It's going to be exhausting. And that stress and that exhaustion could usher in the symptom set known as depression. We bury our talents at our peril. You show me a man burying his talents, and I'll show you a man creating the causes to be tormented by the zombies of those self-same talents. Just like a protagonist in a novel haunted by a ghost of the person he killed, we cannot escape the demands of our oxytocin-oriented reward system. If we want fulfillment, the only way to be truly fulfilled is not just to train in mindfulness and meditation. We also got to train in love. And love begins with a loving wish, a loving intention. That's fine. But 50% of the Eightfold Path is loving kindness. Yes, there's a second noble truth about right aspiration, but there's also a third, fourth, and fifth noble truths about kind communication, kind conduct, and kind commerce. Our loving wishes have to translate into each dimension of human behavior. As outlined by the Eightfold Path. If we don't do this, if we do not embrace 50% of the Eightfold Path, then we are cutting ourselves off from true fulfillment. Now, my first Tibetan teachers were fundamentalist. They probably meant well, but they skewed my view of the teachings for many years. They convinced me that everybody who was not a Mahayana teacher was cold-hearted and selfish and in it for themselves. So you can imagine my surprise when I lived in a Laotian Buddhist monastery and I learned of the Metta teachings, that although they might not utter the same prayers as the Mahayanas, they have the same intention, to be defined by love, by compassion, by empathy. So, for our own sake, if we want to be peaceful and fulfilled, we must choose loving. We must seize our life's opportunity to practice the teachings and even to master them. It doesn't take forever to master the Buddha's teachings. If you have the good fortune to receive them, you can master them in a week, or no, at least 6 months. And once you collected 10,000 hours of meditation and additional 10,000 hours of study, and you could do that probably in about, if you can't do a full-time retreat for 7 years, practicing part-time, you can do it in a handful of decades. By the time you're ready to retire, as a hobby, you could teach people how to meditate. So it's not an impossible goal. Simply, if all you do is attend these live streams once every 12 hours, year after year, decade after decade, assuming, God willing, I live that long, you can master the path to the point of benefiting others with it. I say God willing because when my stepfather's Aunt Etta came from the East Coast to stay with us at my bar mitzvah, me and my sister would enthusiastically bid goodnight to our Aunt Etta. Good night, Aunt Etta, see you in the morning. And she'd say, this very large tank of a woman would say, ugh, God willing. God willing, darling. So she was my stereotypical auntie. But yes, so this is an opportunity for fulfillment by becoming the loving person that evolution has forged us to be, no less the Buddha. I'll tell you what, I think I've beat that horse into the ground. Before we start this morning's chanting and meditating, no less contemplating, I'd like to spend 15 seconds on housekeeping. If there are lessons you'd like to request, or if you simply wish to support the continued availability of these classes, there is a Patreon link in the description area below the video. Oops, sorry guys, gotta blow my nose again. Thank you for your patience. Let us begin with meditation's loving motivation. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness, may everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, liberation for all. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, liberation for all. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, liberation for all. Through the cause and effect of my practice of love and letting go, may each sentient being of each world know practice with me in unison. So what does the mantra mean? With whom we invoke the example of the Muni wise one, Muni wise one. Like the Maha greatly wise one, Muni, yea, of the Shakyas we so how wish enlightenment for all. What shall we do with the mantra? As we chant the mantra, it can feel as if golden rays were emitting from a thumbnail-sized horizontal 12-syllable mantra rosary at our heart. Lavishing all minds, communication, bodies, and circumstances with joyful wisdom, peaceful love, beautiful health, and safe boon. And now we come to mantra meditation, which is actually contemplation. We're going to contemplate the second and then the first folds of the Eightfold Path pertaining to wishing love and then the wisdom of letting go. For the next 4 exercises, we're going to play with wishing love in the format of intention. So let's take a minute to discuss, to review Buddhist manifesting. We don't focus on one specific thing or one specific person. We work with 4 generalities, and we work with all beings everywhere, real or imagined. We blend our intentions with our inhalation, and during our exhalation, we physically chant as, we chant a mantra as best we can while physically relaxing. These 5 things together help us to manifest. At the very least, to manifest greater love. Now that's all we accomplish, that's enough. Let's lovingly wish that all minds now experience the enlightened joy of a Buddha's mind, real or imagined, real or archetypical, symbolized by a 1-syllable mantra such as Ah. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesaha. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesaha. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesaha. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesaha. Let us lovingly wish that all communication and its interpersonal consequences be as peace-inducing as that of a real or imagined enlightened archetype symbolized by mantra. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. These seems rather, instead of being a study in scarlet, this is a study in yellow, which I think can do more harm than good. So we're going to have fun with the computer and highlight it in a way that actually creates contrast, you know, the way highlighting was supposed to be. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Let us lovingly wish that all bodies of all beings will now enjoy the health depicted by the in tantric art of that of an enlightened archetype or yidam. Oopsie. Om muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Om muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Let us lovingly wish that all circumstances of all beings, real or imagined, were now as fortunate and as safe as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise or Pure Land or Vati. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. Muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa muni muni ma muni yesawa. We now switch gears from love to the wisdom of letting go. We're going to do this in 3 parts. First, we're going to review what is meant by emptiness or voidness. Then we're going to work with 4 mantra exercises, and then conclude with 4 exercises without mantra. The second common denominator of these 8 exercises is going to be that they're formatted as rhetorical questions. May I let go of all circumstances, bodies, communication, and minds, as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be non-graspable to the hand. Why is it that as we inhale, we can visually perceive circumstances, and yet, as we physically relax into the chanting of the mantra, all circumstances, perilous and safe, scarce or abundant, could each feel as if they were as non-graspable as a mythic paradise comprised only of light. Muni muni ma muni yesawa 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 Why is it that as we inhale, we can sensually perceive bodies, and yet, as we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the mantra, bodies, whether they are ugly or beautiful or sickly or healthy, could feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined archetype comprised only of light. Muni muni ma muni yesawa 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 Why is it that as we inhale, we can auditorily perceive communication and its interpersonal consequences, and yet, as we physically relax into the chanting of the mantra, communication, whether it is clunky or eloquent or cruel or kind, could feel as if it was as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra comprised only of light. Muni muni ma muni yesawa 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 Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Ha. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Ha. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Ha. Why is it that as we inhale, we can clearly perceive our mind's functions of perception, emotion, intention, reason, recollection, and imagination, and yet, as we physically relax into the chanted recitation of the mantra, minds, whether they are dull or sharp or foolish or wise, could feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined one-syllable mantra comprised only of light. Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Ha. Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa 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 Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Ha. Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Ha. Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Wa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yeso Ha. It has been said the two pillars of confusion are competitiveness and clinging. Their contemplative antidotes could be interdependence and impermanence, which we are going to figuratively contemplate right now. How could all places blissfully melt into rainbow light that absorbs into this body? How could all bodies blissfully melt into rainbow light that absorbs into this speech? How could all speech blissfully melt into rainbow light that absorbs into this mind? How could all minds blissfully melt into rainbow light that absorbs into infinite emptiness? Boy, this thing is rocking back and forth. Let's see if I can't. Okay, that might be better. Let's make sure that everything's in alignment. Fabulous. Having completed our contemplations, we turn now to the union of mindfulness and meditation, beginning by relaxing into the nature, the non-graspable nature of bliss. And bliss is any sensation that doesn't suck. And when I suck, I don't mean in the fun, tingly way. Bliss is any sensation that is not painful. Let us now relax into the non-graspable nature of awareness. May all beings have the joyful wisdom, peaceful love, beautiful health, and safe boon of the Buddha's mythical mind speech for man lot. May all beings like the Buddha, master being, flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, cooperative, and kind. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness, flow spontaneous and uncontrived. May all beings like the Buddha master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate all others. May all beings take auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. If you feel I have earned it, 10 3/4 hours, we could return to explore meditation and gilded cages, as well as chant and meditate some more. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.